Are you tired of the cookie-cutter approach to education that's stuck in the last century? Are you seeking a win-win situation where your family thrives, your kid's education is revolutionary, and you still get to chase your own dreams? Welcome to Unschooled Unleashed. Unlock your child's genius. I'm your host, Matthew Jarecki, an unapologetic rebel dad and promoter of what many consider to be educational anarchy. You know the world isn't going to be won by those that just toe the line. It's the innovators, the visionaries, and the resilient spirits that are going to thrive. Our mission here is to forge those world changers within our very homes with less stress, energy, and time. Unschooled Unleashed starts now. Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Unschooled Unleashed. I'm your host, Matthew Jarecki, and today we're going to talk about work ethic, how to instill work ethic in your children. Maybe you make a case for why work ethic is important. We're also going to talk about how unschooling is probably, at least in my head, the superior way to teach work ethic with your children, at least if you do it in the way I'm proposing, which is intentional unschooling. If you don't know what that is, go back and listen to the episode called Intentional Unschooling. It was one of my earlier ones, so scroll through and check that out. But yeah, we got a little bit of a longer episode, but something a little bit closer to my heart. I was taught a very strong work ethic. I think that was one of the values that was just placed on me. I don't know if I was born with it necessarily, but I was certainly instilled with a strong work ethic as a child, and that has paid dividends. So I could talk a lot about this. However, I have such a strong work ethic that it might actually be a fault. So I go into that a little bit in today's episode. So it's not the only thing we're trying to do with our children is teaching this strong work ethic, but I think it's a major component and one of the pillars that they need to be successful in the future. And I'm going to make a case for why unschooling can do that probably the most efficiently and more and better than otherwise. So with that, let's dive in. Today, we're going to talk about how to instill a strong work ethic in your children using unschooling. I think this is the best route or the most efficient route or the most capable route in which to teach your children a strong work ethic, at least compared to more traditional approaches. And even untraditional approaches. I'm open to new ideas, but essentially you got to get them out of the schools. That's the thing. That's the only thing that it comes down to as far as I'm concerned, and get them in the real workforce or get them practice to prepare for the real workforce. So we're going to break it down for you today. Let's make a case for teaching, the purpose of teaching kids a good, strong work ethic. So it's teaching a strong work ethic, hard to say, work ethic, equips our children with essential skills for the future where independence, creativity, and entrepreneurship will define success. Unschooling offers unique opportunities to model and instill these values in ways that traditional schooling cannot, ensuring our kids are prepared for whatever the future holds. That's the most concise way I can say it, and I'm going to make a couple arguments along the way as to why some of those things are so important. For example, entrepreneurship, independence, creativity, all those things. And forgive me, it is early in the morning for me, so I am sipping my coffee. So you're going to sip along with me. Hopefully you're listening in the morning so you can do that. Oh, man, I got a 40th birthday party for my friend. So I'm going to go out and see him, so I got to record this episode a little early today. I usually record it in the afternoon where I'm not sipping coffee, but hey, adapt and overcome, right? But anyways, the shift toward a new work paradigm. I reference this quite a bit, but I'm going to make an argument as to why a good work ethic is important. And it's good no matter what, of course, and it's not the only ingredient, but a strong work ethic is required for the future, I believe. there's a challenging landscape ahead. The future of work is rapidly evolving. We all know this. The traditional 9-to-5 jobs are giving way to independent contracting, freelancing, entrepreneurial adventures, and it's becoming easier than ever to do any one of these things. It's projected that over 50% of the workforce will be transitioned into one of those roles by, I believe it's 2028. So by the end of this decade, we're going to see that transition. It's already about half in the US. It matters today, believe it or not. In this type of economy, success won't come from just showing up. It will come from being self-motivated, disciplined, and innovative. And a strong work ethic will be the backbone of this success, is what I believe. So I want to give my kids an entrepreneurial edge, because I believe that kids who learn the value of hard work early will have a significant advantage. The more you're able to allow them to flex their independence in that way, the more adaptable, resilient, and I think ready to seize opportunities that arise along the way. They're just going to be more prepared. So I think back to my own life and how a strong work ethic was instilled in me. I remember at 14 years old, I started detailing cars for my dad's car lot. And although it's not like, I mean, it was what he wanted me to do. He asked me if I want to do it, right? Just like I'm going to do with my kids. But he said, do you want to make some money? I'll give you, I think it was like $15 a car or something. Maybe it was 25. I can't remember. To clean it up, make it ready to sell. And I said, sure. And I realized the harder I worked, the faster, the more efficient I was, the more money I could make. That was a good teaching lesson. I didn't do it very long. I'm not sure why, because that was a really good gig. But it taught me that I can make money based off my effort and efficiency. So the smarter I was about working and the harder I worked, the more money I could make. Now, I wasn't really money motivated back then. I was more video game motivated back then, and that's okay. But good lesson. Next thing I want to talk about is why unschooling is superior for teaching work ethic. Now, this is pretty much the foundation as to why I think unschooling is superior at teaching kids the real world. It comes down to intrinsic motivation, right? What drives them? They're self-motivated. It's real life. They actually get to practice in the real life. And guess what? They get to learn about themselves along the way. It's a tailored learning experience. You get to put them in positions, or they get to put themselves in positions depending on their age, and learn about themselves and what strengths they have, what weaknesses, where to improve, what time of day they like to work, what time of day, or what day of the week, all this stuff. And I think that's very important, because if you were to try and do this in your 40s, it's much more difficult. If you already know more about yourself, it's going to be better for you and your employer or your customers, depending on how you do it. But so let's talk a little bit about intrinsic motivation. Unschooling, the whole one of the big components of it, the whole premise is that you have your kids do things when they're intrinsically motivated, and you don't need to ask them, right? They just do it. So you're tapping into their natural curiosity and passion, their gifts. They find their gifts, right? When kids are genuinely interested in what they're doing, hard work feels rewarding and not burdensome. And that's kind of the way, obviously you need grit, but when you're led by your intrinsic motivation, by that innate curiosity, you start to build some resilience and grit, because you see the reward on the other end. You see what you're trying to create, what you're trying to build, what you're trying to do, the answer that you want on the other end. You see it, and you're going to keep on going if it's worth it. So that's how you naturally build grit. You understand your why. And I think there's a lot of research being done on that, or has been over the past 10, 15 years. I think this is really at its core why unschooling is so, to me, attractive and rewarding for the child as well. I think that teaching them this lesson that you should be driven, and it's okay to be driven, and finding what drives you is important. I don't think passion is the only thing. I think you need to be gifted as well. I think you need to work smarter, not harder. So it's not all about just work ethic and intrinsic motivation. But I think that unschooling allows for the opportunity to learn all those things, all wrapped up in one. And it does that because it's not just theory. Like school just teaches theory. They might have you do projects, but it's not real world. You're not going to actually test this out in the market. And if you do, it's the exception, right? I mean, you have to basically break out of the system to try and do that stuff. You are literally, you make the news if you do that. Anyways, I think unschooling allows this real life testing, this real life learning by getting out there in real world contexts. For example, starting your own business, doing some kind of quote unquote side hustle or freelance thing. Instead of learning about, work ethic in some theoretical sense, or doing a fake project that no one's going to care past the A through F that you're going to get on it, you actually get experience through direct hands-on activities and projects. I think that's great feedback. I think that's about as real world as you get. And I think that's probably better to aim at than fake stuff. Just my opinion. Love to hear your thoughts on that. I also think it gives a tailored learning experience because every child is different. And that's one thing about unschooling that I do love is unschooling offers the flexibility to adapt to the child's strengths, interest, and pace, making lessons about work ethic, their work ethic, far more impactful. Like if they don't show up, then something doesn't get done. If they work hard, they're going to see more on the other end, right? And you're walking alongside with them as this authoritative parent, not authoritarian, authoritative, where you're being a more supportive role, trying to guide them, walk with them, more of like exploring curiosity with them, asking questions about why something might not have worked and how they can get out to the other end, and walking them through whether it's even worth trying. That's one thing within me that I wish I would have learned earlier, because it's a big fault of mine, is when to say no. I just resort to hard work. I'm going to plow through it, and that's it. I think at a very young age, knowing when to say no and call it and say, this isn't going to work out, is very valuable. So I hope to allow my children to learn those experiences. When I say allow, I mean provide opportunities to learn those, because I could just send them to school and not allow them to learn any of those, or at least make it harder for them to learn. Yeah, you can't just fit a square peg in a round hole, and no matter how hard you work, you're not going to get there. And I feel like some of my life is like that. So that's part of my unschooling journey in my 40s, is learning how not to do that. And I do want to say, focusing on where you're gifted is probably quite a big secret. Feels effortless, and then you think everyone else feels the same way, so there's no value in it. But honestly, when you're gifted at something, look more into that. Like really think about that. You might be able to get 10 times as much done as the next person, and that's very valuable, even if it feels effortless and not work for you. In my own life right now, what are we doing with unschooling that teaches good work ethic to my kids? Well, I recently decided I need to paint the house, and I need to do that before the end of the year because winter's coming and I live in Cleveland. And if you don't know anything about Cleveland, we get some snow. I live in a 2.5-story house, about 2,400 square feet total, not including the attic nor the basement. So it's a big house. And it needed painted probably like 3 years ago, and I didn't do it. And that's why I'm doing it now. So I got to put in a lot of effort to do this. They wanted to charge me $15,000 to do it. And I started doing the math. I think I can get this done in 2 weeks. That makes me make close over $150 an hour if my math's correct. I think it's like $170 an hour. That's not bad if I can get it done in 80 hours. I don't know if I will get it done in 80 hours, but if I get close to that, not bad. And my sons and my daughter, I mean, she's old enough now, she's 6, get to see me work my butt off. And maybe I can have them help. My dad actually came out and helped me. They get to see all of us as a family working, and I think that's good. So, my kids went in and out of playing and then helping. They might go over and grab me stuff or move something. And that was really helpful. And I really appreciated that. Which leads me actually to my next topic, which is modeling work ethic through family projects. So this whole painting thing turned into, hey, we're modeling this for the kids. I'm working. They get to see me out there for 8-9 hours a day. And my dad comes out to help me, and they see that we do things as a family, and my sons both wanted to help me. I didn't even ask. They just wanted to help. I thought this was fantastic. My dad is leading by example. That's one of the components. I am leading by example. I'm teaching them when something needs to get done. I could easily just pay someone all that money to paint my house. I say easy. It's not easy for me to spend $15,000, but it's easy enough to go over and swipe a card, right? If that's what you wanted to do and you have the money. However, that is incredibly expensive to me. And I think I'm just going to spend my time doing that because I can do this while and teach my kids a lesson along the way, actually not be at the hospital, be at home with them, so I can interact with them and they can even help me. I thought this was a great opportunity. So when they see you doing hard work on a project, whether it's home improvement or not, maybe it's just helping a friend's business or helping a friend out, doing some, moving somebody, they absorb those values. They see why you're doing what you're doing. Now, mine is to save $1 and just work a little bit more intelligently because I don't have to pay taxes, sales tax, nor do I have to pay income tax if I would just go to the hospital and try and out-earn this. So it really actually makes a lot of sense financially. However, I'm still debating it. I don't know. This is a lot of work. I've got the front done. Maybe that's enough. It only took me 16 hours to get the front completely scraped, or close to completely scraped. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Having them observe you working, I think, is very valuable. And that's something that's missing. If I go to the hospital, they don't see any of it. They just hear about it. And I think there's this ripple effect when they actually see you out there doing something, especially when you involve them. There's this family project. They feel a sense of ownership and responsibility. They've contributed. They're going to see this house at the end of it, and they're going to say, I helped make that happen. This house looks great. We're going to stand back and do that thing that guys do after they get done finishing a project and put their hands on their hip and just kind of shake their head and look at it and go, not bad. And I think they're going to get some kind of satisfaction on the other end of that, and they're going to learn from me and the way I do it, that satisfaction and just make those critical connections that hard work equals success. Another example, and I look for these opportunities, right? My oldest son jumped in to help with my friend's food truck when he had a gig. And I was helping my friend out just because I like doing that stuff. But I brought my son and we had him jump in, and I actually paid him. And he saw me working. He saw me interacting with a friend and helping him out. I mean, look at the values we're teaching. Hard work, and then we had him do stuff. The stuff wasn't fun. So a lot of it was on his own, like sweeping, playing with my friend's son, doing that kind of stuff. I was teaching more than just good work ethic. And I think that's part of the real strength of unschooling and doing this type of stuff is you're teaching not just one thing at a time, teaching multiple things, work ethic being one. But that's just how I've been able to do that in my life. And I think my kids are learning that work can be enjoyable, which is what I want them to believe, that work cannot, obviously there's time to put your head down and just push through, but work can also be enjoyable and rewarding when you're part of something that's meaningful. Maybe even if not to you, but to someone else, and just helping out a friend, I think is a big thing. So modeling through family projects, I think is a great way to do it. Next, I want to talk about some creative outside of the box ways to instill work ethic. Now, these are interesting to me. So take it for what you will. I don't think everyone will want to do this, nor should they do this, but start a family business. I would love to do this. So whether it's a small online store or a local service or, something like that, like brick and mortar, involving your kids in the daily operations, I think is a good thing. It gives them a real world experience of managing responsibilities, even maybe dealing with some of the customers and understanding the value of money. It's not just about time. And I kind of cringed at saying I was going to paint the house and I broke down my hourly wage. But when I'm doing the math compared to going to the hospital, because I'm just going to go to the hospital to make up the difference and pay for that, I broke it down by the hour. And I really don't want to teach my kids to do that. I want to teach them that your time is very valuable, and it's more valuable than just broken down by the hour. I would love to be able to leverage my money to be able to make more happen, meaning like I hire someone to do this in a more creative way. Like maybe I just hire a college kid who wants to make some quick cash for a week, and I'm able to do that with way less money than hiring a professional painter. And I just oversee it. That's smarter, not harder. But I still want to get that work done, so I'm out there doing it too, so it still would do it. Either way, when we talk about starting a family business, what we're talking about is involving them in everything. It doesn't mean you have to actually do everything yourself. You can hire it out like I was talking about with the painting thing. Even though it's not a business, it's just something that needs to be done. I think starting a business, and this is kind of what I'm tossing around in our lives, is a fantastic way in order to teach work ethic among many other things. So many other things that it's like I think I almost have to. I just have to figure out what family business. So I've been recently looking into purchasing a laundromat, because if you can't understand a laundromat and how the business works, then you probably shouldn't be in business. It's part-time work. And a lot of the skills you need in order to run a laundromat are skills that kids can do. For example, sweeping the floors, keeping a clean place, right? Making sure that, folding laundry, stuff, all that stuff. So I just don't want to be trapped in one area, so I'd have to hire a team of people to run it. It just needs to be justified. So something I've been tossing around. I'm kicking the tires on it. I reached out to a seller. Doesn't look like it's going to work with the one I reached out to, and I don't know if I really want a laundromat, because I think it would handcuff me to a location, and I want to travel. So, but if you could figure out how to get a brick and mortar or something that you can do with your hands, and they see the value of work, in this family business, and you can teach them everything around it, even interacting with customers, like I said, I think that's very, very valuable. Some other ways that are kind of outside the box to instill work ethic is gamify work. Turn chores into a task or a game. You can create challenges, goals that they can meet, right? I mean, we do this in business to a point where, the sales team might come up with a goal, and whoever, it's a challenging goal, and whoever hits that gets some kind of reward. It feels more like a game, a little more competition, a little more fun. Makes you feel accomplished, rewards you financially. I think this can help you get really focused. And I think making it fun is also a skill. So teach them how to do that. Mentorship and shadowing, internships, that type of thing. Pair your kids with a mentor in a field they're interested in. This could be through a family, friend, local business owner, shadowing someone who has a strong work ethic. It can be great. It can be inspiring. It can be affirming. I think that's one of the strengths of unschooling is you're able to go over and put them in the real world in an internship, in a shadow experience, learning from business owners, learning from freelancers, helping out, doing what they want, following their intrinsic motivation. I think that's very important. And one of the things that I hope to get my kids in as they get a little bit older. Another thing is you have to allow for failure. Encourage your kids to take on tasks that might be difficult. And if they fail, help them see that it's a learning opportunity rather than a setback. This is part of work ethic, right? This builds resilience and understanding that hard work sometimes involves overcoming obstacles. That's the biggest criticism I hear outside of the social thing about unschooling. Your kids aren't in school, so they're not social enough, whatever. The second biggest criticism is, what about the resilience you're trying to build in your children? Isn't that important? And the answer is yes, it's incredibly important, but I want real world setbacks that they can overcome, not fake challenges where they go, you need to get an A, or you need to get a whatever, or you need to do this project that means really nothing on the other end. I want real world stuff. I think that's the most valuable and teaches the best lessons. Just my 2 cents. So as I sit back in my world, my future world that I'm trying to build, I imagine setting up a small business with my kids, letting them handle different tasks or being different roles, have them learn the importance of every task, from whether it's marketing, bookkeeping, interacting with customers. Understand that success is built on consistent effort, and I think that's what I really want to pass down. Moving on. The long-term benefits of a strong work ethic are resilience, independence, confidence, and I think it teaches life skills. I think resilience, I don't have to elaborate on that. I think resilience is crucial for long-term success, both personally and professionally. And if you don't have a good work ethic, you're not going to be very resilient. If you have a strong work ethic, you're more independent. Kids who understand the value of hard work are more likely to take initiative, solve problems, and pursue their own goals without needing the constant guidance that an employer provides. And again, that's going to be less of the ways people earn an income in the United States as this decade winds down. So very important. Confidence. Hey, real world success gives you confidence. When you actually go out there and can follow through with what you put your mind to, that builds confidence. And I think that that type of confidence is going to be crucial when you think about pursuing some kind of goal, pursuing some kind of thing out there. As my kids grow, they're going to want to do something, and I think they're going to need confidence that they can show up when they say they're going to show up. They have in the past, and the past is the best predictor of success we have. Past success is the best predictor of success we have. Life skills. Hey, unschooling provides the best way to learn life skills. I not only want them to be, academically smart, because that's what everyone focuses on, is just academics. I want them to actually be a whole person. I want to be focused on the holistic development of my children. So I want them to be a hard worker, right? I want them to learn time management, responsibility, how to balance multiple tasks, skills that will serve them throughout their whole life. I think that life skills are not taught in school because it's all artificial, at least for the most part. Moving on, I don't want to make this episode too long, so I'm just kind of fly through some of it after I take a sip of coffee here. Coffee in the morning. Good. Work ethic is going to be even more important in the future because, as I've said, and I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but the gig economy we've already established is growing. Freelancers are going to be all over the place. Entrepreneurial opportunities are going to be, it's never been an easier to be an entrepreneur than it is right now. And you can put in a lot of hard work, get smarter about your work, and it will grow. And that is a fast path to wealth. As long as you're willing to fail a whole bunch as you spin your tires. There's going to be global competition. So prepare for that as well. We're all connected by the internet, and I think that you're really going to have to work smarter, not just harder. So part of working hard is working hard to get smart, right? So that's all included in this. And I want my kids to understand that the world's full of opportunities, but those opportunities are often hidden behind hard work. And teaching them that strong work ethic now, I'm giving them the tools they need to uncover and seize those opportunities in the future is my goal. The last thing I want to talk about is integrating work ethic into unschooling and just kind of daily practices and how you can do that. So household contributions is one of those ways. So regular chores to teach kids, this is younger kids, to teach them that everyone has a role to play. These are things that they just do. They're not going to get paid for it. They're just going to have to work hard at it because that's a part of being an adult. It's not just about getting the job done. It's about being a part of the community where everyone's effort matters, because if one person doesn't do their job, well, guess what? It affects everyone in the house. If the living room's not cleaned if the living room's not cleaned, I don't care who left the toys out, no video games are getting turned on that evening. It affects everyone, right? And we have personal conversations with those who keep on leaving those toys out. But it's everybody's job to make sure the living room is clean. That's just an example of what we do. There's also project-based learning, where you can encourage your kids to take on projects that align with their interests. And this is where we're moving into as my kids get a little bit older. Whether it's building something, writing a book, that's what one of my children wrote 2 comic books last night that they're going to show me. So that's something I'm encouraging and supporting by using that authoritative parenting style, where I just kind of ask questions and walk through it with them. Or it could be learning a new skill, where my kids want to learn all about this new topic of like how to make a movie, which is what the summer was about, and editing, video editing, and all that fun stuff, and writing storylines. All these things are leading to an end result, which teaches that hard work leads to an accomplishment. And I think, in failing's okay. You won't always get it on the other end, but if you keep trying, you will get it. Time management is another thing you can integrate in your daily practice with teaching the value of work ethic. So it's often on me to do this in the beginning, where I'm going to tell them what they can and can't do. For example, in the mornings, we do free play. No, they're not going to get on a screen. But in the afternoon, they can get on the screen and work on their movie stuff. Sure. I think that as time goes on, I'm going to be less and less restrictive, but I'm going to teach them that going to bed on time and waking up on time, eating on time, these types of daily habits are going to, creating these schedules are going to be helpful for them to be able to make a base foundation for them to thrive in their own journey. And then we reflect on growth. This is something that I'm a little weak at recently, but I know as an adult, regularly reflecting on my own achievements throughout the day helps me gain momentum. So what I used to do, and I'm trying to get back in the habit, is every day I would journal about what I did that day. What did I accomplish? I would literally ask myself and just write down real quick what I accomplished in one sentence. And at the end of that, you feel really good. And then you feel really motivated to do something again tomorrow. And this helps me stay motivated. Teaching your kids to do that, whether it's the evening prayer or whether it's actually talking about it as a family and just kind of celebrating that, I think that encourages a growth mindset. Even if it's I wasn't able to do it, but I learned something that I'm going to take to the next time, that's valuable too. So it's small, consistent efforts that our kids are going to they're gonna watch us and take these small things that we do that lead to bigger things, and they're going to absorb that, whether it's them helping out with something or them actually taking the lead and doing it themselves and just sticking with it until it's done. And then helping them put that in its place in their head. Celebrate the failure because they tried, they worked hard at it. Celebrate the accomplishment when they actually got through it. I think it's valuable. So in conclusion, this is just a vision for the future for you, for me and my kids that maybe is worth thinking about for you. A work ethic is for life. And I think teaching a strong work ethic is more about preparing our kid, teaching a strong work ethic is more about preparing our kids for not just, a job, quote unquote job, whether it's entrepreneurial or working for someone else, but it's about preparing them for life. It's about teaching them resilience, independence, giving them the confidence they need or the opportunities to build confidence they need to navigate whatever challenges that come their way, because real life happens, right? And I think the role of unschooling is it gives us the freedom to teach those lessons in a meaningful, relevant way that's deeply connected to our children's interests, gifts, and passions. And I think as we look ahead into the future where independent work and entrepreneurship are the norm, our kids will be ready. Okay, they'll have the work ethic, the skills, the mindset to achieve whatever they choose. So in the end, the work ethic we choose to instill in our kids today will shape the adults they become tomorrow. So it's not going to go lost. And even if they reject it for a time, at least you did your best, right? Through unschooling, we have the opportunity to teach these values in a way that's engaging, impactful, and perfectly tailored to who our children are, which is what I believe we should do. And as they grow, they'll carry these lessons with them, applying them to every challenge they come across, especially at the young age when you can walk with them. And they'll take every opportunity and every success they encounter along the way, to learn that lesson. And I think that's just a part of life. That's how we do it. And that's a fulfilling life for me, is walking through my kids with that type of stuff. Today's a little bit of a longer episode, but hey, we did it. Got through a lot. I have a lot to say on work ethic, apparently. And I didn't drink enough of my coffee. I still got one more. So let me take a sip here. I encourage you to take a sip if it's the morning and you have one. So with that, I'm going to end today's episode. So stay curious, stay unschooled, and stay away from the algebra nightmares. I'll catch you in the next episode. So here's where we roll up our sleeves and bring out the big guns. If you support our mission, then please leave a review. On Unschooled Unleashed, we are talking about using a radical approach to education in today's world, and the more 5-star reviews we have, the more people will feel comfortable with the ideas, strategies, and principles we discuss. It gives legitimacy to our message, and the podcast's algorithm prioritizes us so we can reach more people. You may even have your 5-star review read on our podcast. Before I let you go, I have to pause and say this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Your presence here is the fuel that ignites this movement. I am incredibly moved that you trust in us enough to click play. You, my friends, are the caped heroes in this story, the guardians of your family's learning journey, and a beacon of hope for your community. Be bold. Do what you think is best for you and your family. Thanks again for tuning in and taking this courageous leap outside of the box for this educational revolution. Welcome to the front line.